Hey guys, welcome back, Stacks and Setbacks. I'm in the shed today doing a bit of work on the crew cab. I'm tackling the front fenders or the front guards. Bottom quarters are rusted out. You might have seen that in other videos or photos. So I've actually already got one that I did. I'm going to take you through how I did the other side, how I formed the patch panel from just a flat piece of mild steel and almost metal finished it actually, which I'm pretty happy with. So I will get myself set up and we'll get cracking on that. So yeah, bringing you back to this, what is this? The driver's side actually. Okay, what we're going to do is cut this out, but first I'm going to make a template to get this shape correct. And then transfer that template onto some steel, annealed steel, and then we will go through the process of cutting this out and then TIG welding this back on, or the new patch back on, I should say. As you can see, it's pretty rooted. Inside's really chewed out. So we really have to cut out sort of from about where my thumb is here all the way through, and essentially just this whole corner, which is what we've done on that other one. Okay, so what I'm going to start doing is laying some tape down on this fender to make a template. All right, it starts to sort of curve up here. So I'm going to stop pretty much before it curves up. And then what I'm going to do is start marking all of these curves that we have. Sometimes I just dirty with your fingers, your dirty fingers. You can actually just see that rise a little bit easier depending on the light. So I want to mark the start of the curve and the end of the curve and the center of the curve. Going to do a dash line for the center of the bend. So that'll be where the bend starts and that's where the bend ends, or vice versa. Now what I'm doing there is I'm keeping all these lines parallel because this curvature is actually parallel with each other. I'm just making sure my lines are actually all equally parallel with each other. Otherwise you'll get, you know, like if you bend that out of shape, it's not going to sit in there correctly. This one's a little bit tighter. Which means these lines will be closer together. T for top. Okay. Just going to trim this off at the bottom there. So you don't need that bottom section. And this top. You need a sharper knife. Let's try that. Okay. Pull the tape off from the front, from where you started, otherwise it'll all come apart. And essentially, there's your template. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do now is get a nice new piece of steel and transfer that on. I'm just going to clean this piece of sheet metal just with some metho. Just so when you do mark the metal, you know you're not fighting with all the grease or the dirt. Okay, now use the template. Now what I like to do is get a straight line and match this up. Now we don't need, I might go a little bit, I'll come in a little bit off the edge in case, you know, you don't want to go too, you don't want to be short, so always leave yourself plenty of width. You can always cut it down. Okay. Now I always make sure that my lines are square, because there's nothing worse than being out of square. It's a little bit out, but I reckon we'll make this work. That's transferred through. Now in terms of width, we probably want, what do we got here? About 140. Might go a little bit wider, I might go 150. So about 6 inches. So we go about there, okay. Might bring you in a little bit closer here actually. If you can, hopefully you saw all that other work that I was doing. Alrighty, so Cool. Alrighty. There you go. So there's the top. And we're going to start. I'm probably going to cut this off here. Just the narrower the better when you're actually bending it. But obviously you want to allow yourself plenty of width for whatever you're replacing, because you don't want to be too short. That's the worst thing. So just a bit of planning there. The bottom we can cut down. So the bottom will be this part here. We want to sort of we'll cut this length off later, so that'll actually go past that edge there. But that can be cut off any time. And the other reason is the more length we've got here to bend, the easier it is to actually hold on to something to bend, you know, that piece there. So what I'm going to do is cut that out essentially, and we'll start bending. Okay, I do like to clean up the edges just so I'm not cutting my fingers, because they can be quite sharp. Okay, I've got an old railway sleeper here. Sorry, a railway track. And that's what I'm going to use to fold these edges. Yeah. So these edges here, or these lines here, will actually be essentially bent over that edge there. You know, I find this works well because I've got actually quite a sharp little curve there, and this one's a little bit rounder, so I can always turn that around. But essentially I'm going to start now forming this whole shape to then match, obviously, my fender. This has to actually bend up, so I need to be able to hold this on here to bend it up. So a lot of this is just a lot of playing around. That's pretty good there. So now we can start bending that the other way. I'm actually finding this edge here of my bench is actually working a little bit better, just because it's sharper, and we do have quite a sharp bend. What I'm actually doing is I'm actually checking the parallel folds. So these are both parallel. Now, you know, when you're bending it by hand like this, you will find sometimes, you know, this will then peak up or peak down, and then it's not going to sit nicely against your contour of your I guess your buck. So you just need to adjust that all the time. That's why I'm sort of going back and adjusting, you know, this here. You can actually see that's a little bit wobbly, but I can actually fix that up, and a lot of that's probably going to be cut out anyway, but that can be just manipulated down the track. let's just bring you in here. You can see that. So that's the bad side, just because it's sitting on this rusted area, but that's pretty good. As you can see, we're hanging over the bottom here, which is good because we can always trim that off. And then this is the other side. Sorry, trying to do this one-handed is difficult. But yeah, you can see that has to come down a little bit there, but we can manipulate that a little bit more. But essentially, there you go. There's your patch panel, and you can see by that light, it's pretty good. So, what we're going to do now is position where we want this patch panel. I want to keep this edge because it's actually not rusted out here, and obviously to fold that up is a little bit more difficult. So like I did in that other one, I'm going to cut close to this, and I'm going to TIG weld this, so a lot less heat than a MIG weld, so a lot more forgiving. If you haven't used TIG, especially on panels, I urge you to give it a go and practice, and once you master it, which won't take that long, you will never go back, just because the amount of, or the lack of heat, I should say, that is put into the panel is just so much easier to work with after you've welded. I find with MIG welding, it does distort so much more. So yeah, what I'm going to do is we'll position this up to start cutting out this actual rust hole now, and we'll place this in for tacking. Okay, so I've just prepared this a little bit just by giving it a quick linish. I've actually marked placed it on here and just clamped it on to get a mark around where I'm actually going to cut out that rust, so where this patch is going to fit in. So now I'll essentially just, this is where it gets a little bit nerve-wracking, because once it's cut, you can't go back. So I always go a little bit inside the line. So you can see here, this is the line that's been marked. We'll go along this edge here just to keep this rolled edge. And obviously this new section will come down past here, and then we'll cut that later, cut this notch out. But I'll just go inside that line just ever so slightly, and then we'll just keep on trimming it to fit. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So the other thing I could have done before I cut this out, is actually on the bare metal, marked the bare metal. You can do it either way, whatever you feel works best. So here we go. It is almost finished. I've got to still trim this bottom section and then do that little half moon, but yeah, that's not bad. Got that pretty straight, pretty flat. There's a few, that's just my weld penetration, which I don't think I'll go over again. I probably could, but I'll just do a bit of fill on that. And yeah, there we have it. What I might do first is cut this notch out. While I've got that material there. Alrighty, there you go. So I've got to I'll probably continue on with a bit of a more of a DA on this. It's not too bad. It'll need a little bit of filler, but yeah, for what we had, I'm pretty happy with that. That's pretty much both guards done. I'll get on to I'll actually put the back back support on those. I won't really video that. I don't think that's pretty straightforward. Unless you want me to, let me know. Give me throw me a comment if you want me to actually film that. So if you do want to see me spot weld those back on, let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching and take care. Brush your hair.